Okay, this is chapter 1 of Goodman Pathology. So these are just going to be little lecture summaries of 1 or 2 pages. And so the first chapter is called Chapter 1 Intro to Pathology. So pathology is the nature of disease or changes in the body, and pathogenesis is more of how the condition actually develops on more of a cellular level. Health is something that isn't just the absence of having a specific illness or a specific disease. It encompasses 3 different things, which include the physical, social, and mental well-being. And the leading causes of death are obesity, alcoholism, drug abuse, and tobacco. There's differences between illness and death. So illness is when you basically go away from that state of homeostasis, and disease is something that happens on a more biologic or psychological level to the organs or the different parts of the body. Then there's different types of illnesses. There's different phases of illnesses, which are acute, subacute, and chronic. Acute is something that happens very quickly. It's very short term. The outcome is most likely that you're going to get a full recovery. Subacute is something that is in between acute and chronic. It lasts for longer than a few days and less than typically a month. And then chronic illnesses are something that is more permanent or long term. And those are the different types of illnesses. Whenever somebody experiences a certain illness, they have different personality types that they're likely to experience. You have the dependent, narcissist, stoic, and then denial and fear. Dependent is when somebody is constantly asking for more things. They are relying on the healthcare personnel way too much beyond what is typically normal for that specific illness. Narcissist is somebody who's going to look more at how the illnesses is affecting them and the things that they want to do or that they need to do, like that they can't work or they have to take certain meds at a specific time. The stoic person is somebody who is not going to admit that they are being impacted by their specific illness or their specific disease. Then you have denial or fear. So obviously denial, you don't want to deal with the fact that you have that disease, and then fear, you're scared of it. For disabilities, we know that they are increasing in men more than they are in that they are increasing in women more than they are for men. The highest cases are in those that are 65 years and up, and half of 65 and ups have physical, sensory, mental, or learning disabilities. Cognitive disabilities have a few different definitions, so executive functions, depression, complex problem solving, and info processing. Executive functions, those are basically the main parts of your brain that are going to deal with things like goals, planning, initiating, monitoring, and maintaining your behavior. Depression is when your brain doesn't have any energy or you in general don't have any energy. Complex problem solving is whenever you deal with new information, how you're going to take that and you're going to handle it. And info processing is how fast something is able to travel from one area to a different part of your brain. Disabilities in veterans are pretty common. They occur at 3.8 million every single year, and the most common types are TBIs, amputees, and PTSDs. There's a few different models that we deal with in pathology. So we have the socio-political, the ICF, and the biomedical. And the socio-political is something that is involving our human rights and the issues that we experience on a daily basis. And the ICF is going to be more of that overall person, dealing with things like their functions of their body, their structures, activities, participation, environment, and personal factors, things that really make up the whole package of what a person actually is. Then you have your biomedical model that is focusing more on things that are on a biological basis, like organs and cells. There's different types of theories. So you have the germ, biomedical, multi-causal, homeostasis, psychosocial, psychoneuroimmunology, and gene theory. The germ theory is talking about how different microorganisms cause different infections. The biomedical model focuses more on our biology, like our organs and cells, and how they cause different diseases. Multi-causal theory is basically saying that there's a lot of different things that play into somebody's disease processes, like lifestyle, diet, and stress. Homeostasis is when our body goes away from our basic levels of homeostasis, like BP, O2, CO2, and glucose, and temperature. So those are our main vital signs. Psychosocial is obviously the psychological as well as the social components of a person. Psychoneuroimmunology is taking that a little bit further and dealing with our neuro as well as our endocrine system and the immune system and how these things interact with each other to cause different illnesses. And then the gene theory is when you notice that certain genes are becoming infected by a certain disease. So you're going to take new genes that are those healthy genes and you're going to put them into a person to kind of replace those genes that are becoming defective and make the body able to be healthy again. General adaptation syndrome. So response to stresses include appetite, weight loss, myalgias, and fatigue. And energy medicine is the energy forces in the body, beliefs, expectations, and intentions. There's different components to health promotion and disease that include healing, health, wellness, and prevention. And the primary principles of that are self-responsibility, nutritional awareness, stress reduction and management, and physical fitness. And finally, the last category is disease prevention. So there's different stages of disease prevention. You got your primary, secondary, and your tertiary. And your primary is whenever you realize that a certain disease is out there, so the person doesn't have it yet. We're trying to prevent something from happening. So for example, we want to prevent a car accident, so we installed seatbelts. Secondary is whenever you realize that a certain condition or disease is potentially going to happen, so you're trying to prevent it. And an example of that is a flu shot. And then finally, tertiary is when a specific person already has that disease, and so we're trying to deal with it, and we're trying to cope with it. So rehab would be an example of that. And that concludes chapter 1.